Greetings and welcome. How are we all feeling at the moment? Today's topic is about self-reflection, which is a process that we should all do because it helps us clarify things in our minds, clarify things in our lives, and also helps to clear up misunderstandings and miscommunications in relationships because you're able to take a step back and think about things. And usually the best way to do this is in a quiet place where you're not distracted, where you have time to process thoughts and emotions and ideas. And that's why self-reflection is incredibly important. And we should self-reflect after our days to process things so we don't end up repressing things and adding more stress and more overwhelm to our lives. And the great thing about self-reflection is that it makes space for you to grow. The more you realize about yourself, the more you understand yourself, the more you can heal. Because once you understand and identify the problem, that's when you can start working towards a solution. And growth is uncomfortable. And we have to self-reflect in order for us to be better and to self-develop and to just move on in life and level up. Because without self-reflection, we are internalizing things and repressing things, and it just becomes such a negative cycle that we can't get out of. So remember that your self-reflection is important for growth. A step towards achieving your growth is to self-reflect about your past, about your present, and what your plans are for your future. The great thing about self-reflection is that it helps declutter the psyche. It helps you decipher what is necessary to keep in your mind and what is toxic old junk that you need to throw away. It makes more space in our minds for us to grow and self-develop. Self-reflection helps us get rid of all the things that we are holding on to, all the negativities, all our traumas, and just letting go. And that's what decluttering the psyche is. Because if you don't declutter the psyche regularly, you're going to suffer from mental distress. It's just as important to keep your mind decluttered as it is to keep your environment and your space decluttered as well. And self-reflection is a good way for you to develop self-concept. Self-concept is the way you describe yourself, how you define yourself. So it gives you a better sense of self and a better understanding of self so that you can start defining yourself and identifying what resonates with you and what makes you who you are. And self-reflection allows us to develop that person, to develop ourselves, because we are able to think about what are our capabilities, what are our limitations, what experiences we have been through, and that all has an impact on your self-concept. So self-reflection is a really good way to develop self-concept and develop that understanding of self, to be able to resonate and relate to yourself. And self-reflection also helps build the inner relationship, because you are building upon yourself. You are building that inner connection that you have with yourself. It helps build your communication with yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you speak to yourself, what you think about yourself. And it heals the inner child. It heals the relationship because you are more aware of your worth, your self-esteem, because you reflect on it, you think about it, and you establish yourself, you establish your worth. And it's so important that we do have a good inner relationship, because if we don't, we're going to constantly be at war with ourselves. And the best way to heal yourself is to reflect on what's hurting you, and why are you so hard on yourself, and why are you struggling with the inner relationship. And self-reflection is really, really good for that. And it also creates self-awareness, where you are more aware of what you're doing. You can take responsibility for yourself. You're able to self-manage. You're able to self-regulate. And it gives you a better sense of your awareness, what's going on around you, what's going on in your mind, what state your mental health is in. And it creates that awareness, and you are able to act out of autonomy, to be your own person, to make your own decisions, and being able to do that in a well-informed and healthy way. And self-reflection also helps us identify our limitations, things that are holding us back. And the things that hold us back are from past experiences where we have decided that we cannot do a specific thing. And we hold ourselves back a lot through our limitations, what we believe we can do, what we believe our capabilities are, instead of just reflecting on how can I push myself, how can I develop my skill, how can I learn more, how can I grow more. And it makes you aware. When you reflect in your mind, it makes you aware of you holding yourself back. You are limiting yourself every single day by believing that you can do less than you actually can. You believe you can do less than you actually can. And self-reflection is really great for working through trauma, because you are able to reflect on it and to think about what happened, what emotions were involved, what thoughts were involved, the experience you had and the impact that it had on your psyche. And self-reflection is the best way to work through trauma, because trauma is an internal battle, and it's something you have to fight with self-reflection every single day. Because when you reflect on your trauma, you sort of almost start desensitizing yourself to it, and you start desensitizing yourself to triggers, and you learn more about what position you were in mentally when the trauma happened. So it's very important that you self-reflect on your trauma and what has hurt you in the past, and what has really impacted your life in a very negative way. And self-reflection helps with processing and internalizing. As I said, you don't repress things. You start to process emotions. You start to process your thoughts. And that creates less mental clutter, so therefore less mental distress. And it helps with how we internalize our worlds, our mindsets, how optimistic or pessimistic we are. And it also helps us work through the things that have stopped us in the past. And it shows us a different way of internalizing things and internalizing our thoughts to project a more positive outlook. And that's why self-reflection is so important. And self-reflection creates emotional awareness. You become more aware of what you're feeling. You become more self-regulated. You're able to stabilize your emotions. And it's not just the emotions themselves. It's the intensities that come with the emotions. And when you are able to self-reflect, you are able to diffuse the intensity of the negative or highly volatile emotions that you are currently experiencing. And self-reflection is a great way to examine your journey, to make sure you are on the right path, to make sure that you are consistent, you are working on your goals every day. And self-reflection can help you understand if you need to reroute, find a different way of doing things, or change your journey. Self-reflection is beneficial in many, many ways. It's important for healing, for growth, for letting go, for working through trauma. And it's something you can do every day. Just sit down and allow your thoughts to come to you. And instead of repressing them and pushing them away, allow them to wash over you. That's why self-reflection is so important. It's such an important tool. So remember, you are unique and valuable. Take care of that stunning person. Stay strong wherever you're from. You are